Letter number 4, Airmail, September 17, 1943. Dear Margie. Well, darling, here I am at the same camp with 5 more weeks of battle training ahead of me before I go to school again. The training is certainly tough compared with anything ever had in Canada, and as I understand, it will get tougher as we go along. One thing, I am getting into fair condition again. Have lost a little weight and feel fine, but must admit I get pretty tired of being intense, sleeping on the ground and eating from mess tins all the while. We are not allowed lights at night and have very little time to ourselves. By the time we get our rigging ready for the morning, it's dark. The Tops gang, short for topographical, has been cut down by one more man. Paul was taken as a hoist man and has been sent to the coast. His job will be unloading ships. He should get something good out of it. I wrote Moose, Muriel, Brother Stan and received a reply telling me to come and see him as soon as I can get away. He told me that Art Bowyer is in the hospital at Borden, so I am going over to see him Sunday. It's only a few miles away. Tomorrow there is a big army regatta at a lake nearby, so the Tops have entered a paddle and rowing team. I don't know how we will do, as none of us have ever been in the type of boats used, nor have we ever rowed together. So, we will have some fun at least. Well, darling, I will be looking forward to a letter from you this next week or the week after at least. Some mail came through yesterday, but it was all forwarded from the camps. I was hoping there might be one for me, but no dice. I keep wondering how our family is coming along. You see, I have never received word of anything definite. I have had lots of time to think it over and realize now, I asked a lot of you, dear, knowing that I wouldn't be with you all the time. Especially when the finances aren't what they might be. There should be a paymaster's parade in about a month, or as soon as all our papers are cleared up, and I will assign you another $2. Not much, I know, but it will help you a little. When you write, darling, give me all particulars. The hell with the censors. Well, darling, bye-bye for the present, and all my love to the swellest girl in this whole world. As ever. Roger XXXX. Letter number 6, Aerograph, September 29, 1943. Dear Margie. Here it is nearly a week since I wrote you, darling, but it's been rather a hectic week. We started training with vengeance about the middle of last week, from early morning until dusk. By the time we got things ready for the morning parade, it was dark. So, with no lights in the tents, there was no time left for ourselves. However, we moved into barracks today in a camp just a few miles from the old one. It sure is nice to have a few comforts and a little time to enjoy them in. Sid and I went to London last Saturday, saw as much as time would allow, a letter on the way telling you of the trip. There is not much room on this paper, darling. Hoping for a letter from you soon. Some of the lads have received them, but not me. All my love, dearest. As ever. Roger XXXX. Letter number 7, Straight Mail, September 30, 1943. Dear Margie. Well, darling, at last I have a chance to sit down and write you by electric light. We moved last week from the old camp to the new one. The tents are pretty cold and the camp as a whole was pretty pink. We had to march to another camp for our training, which caused us to have to leave early and get back late. The meals were fair but generally cold by the time we got to our mess tents. There were no lights allowed at nights, and as it gets dark quite early, we had little time to ourselves. This camp is an old one, used by permanent forces. The huts are brick, well built, but lack hot showers. We have to be paraded for a bath at one of the bathhouses. It seems an ordinary household convenience in Canada is a luxury over here. I told you in a letter number 6 that Sid Clarkson and I were in London last week. It was too late on Saturday afternoon that we landed to see much. Although we did see the outer buildings of Westminster Abbey. Also saw Big Ben and London Bridge. We spent the night in an air raid shelter. At breakfast next morning we met an English corporal of the Royal Engineers, a London lad. He said he was here in the morning, so showed us around Old London proper. We were in the Supreme Court building with its 20 miles of corridors. We saw the main courtrooms, the cells and death house. Next, we were in St. Paul's. It's undisputable, just a series of high arches and huge pillars. The roofs are gold leaf, the walls of marble. The floors are of inlaid granite. We then walked down Treadmill Street and saw the bank buildings. From there we could see Bow Bell, the church bell that is supposed to call Jack Whittington back to London to become mayor. We made our way to Guildhall, the registration building of all London tradesmen and freemen. Part of it had been destroyed, but we saw the main hall and the catacombs built before the old London fire. We also saw the oldest pub in London. It was closed. We then made our way to London Tower and saw as much of it that is possible to see during the war. Most of the place is closed. It sure would be a barren, cold place to live in. They certainly had very few comforts in the old days. By the time we got back to Beaver Club it was dark, so we had our supper, then sat in a pub and got a kick out of the sights. I thought I had seen all the red life in the north, but they don't stack up to the Janes that hang around these joints. Sid was disgusted, couldn't get over it. Well, darling, I am hoping for a letter from you soon, maybe tomorrow. It's nearly 12 o'clock, dear, and the lights will soon be out, so we'll finish this tomorrow. Good night, dearest. I wish I was with you. I have just enough time to finish this letter up, dear. Just think, here it is, the 1st of October. 2 months ago we were in Halifax. Sometimes it seems ages ago, then again, it's just like yesterday. It's hard to believe this is England, and there is a war on. Everything is so peaceful except for our planes coming in and going out all the time. Some of us hope to go to Windsor next Sunday. They take a number of men each week for a tour around the castle and grounds. It will be something more to see. Gosh, it's warm. I am sitting outside the hut and writing this on my knee as it's a little cool outside. 3 cheers. The corporal just handed me my first letter from you, and aerograph number 1. I have just finished reading, and is it good to see your writing again, darling? You say you are going to the doctor for another checkup. What about the first one, and what did he say? I am glad you are still in Muskoka and having a good rest. Do I ever wish I was with you, darling? That's good news about Barb. She will be pleased that it's a girl. Peter will have a regular Popeye chest on him now, and I can't say I blame him. I'm sorry to hear that Mrs. K isn't feeling so good. Tell her to save some buttermilk for me when I get back home. I could sure go for a couple of glasses right now. No, I haven't seen any of the relatives yet. I won't get a leave that's long enough to let me get up that far. But hope to get one in a couple of weeks, and I will go to Coventry first. So, you just about have a pair of socks ready for me. Good girl, I can use them. Also, laundry soap. The laundry soap here is a grease soap and won't wash things clean, and cigarettes. I am down to rolling pipe tobacco. These limey cigs are terrible and expensive. You can send some through tobacco companies, they come quite regular. Well, darling, I suppose I will have to get on the move again, so we'll call this letter quits. We'll write again in a day or so. Ordinary mail and 1 airmail or aerograph a week. These forms are rationed like everything else unless there is another means of getting them that I haven't found yet. Hoping for another letter soon, dear, so with all my love. As ever. Roger XXXX.